Welcome in, Tuesday edition, Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio here with you today. Hope all of you are having a wonderful morning. It is quite wet and damp here in the Oxford area. A little different morning as Oxford School District. I think Lafayette as well on 2-hour delays today, but looks like should be pretty safe conditions. I don't think it actually got down below freezing today and tonight and tomorrow morning is what looks worse, frankly, when you look at what's potentially to come. So if you have a child in a school in Oxford, there's a good chance that tomorrow you're probably changing around some plans in some way. If I just had to guess,
I'd be surprised if they had school tomorrow
at all. Think so?
I'd be surprised.
Okay, I'll buy that. Yeah, a little new look. We got a couple kinks still. We kind of always have kinks. Okay, we'll get them all worked out eventually. So. You know, we are not video technical people by trade. We are learning everything as we go. So
the effort's there.
The effort is there.
That's,
if anything, the effort is probably over what would be required if we knew exactly what we were.
There's no question about that.
Efforting is not the issue.
By the way, there's a little sound in the background that I'm hearing. I don't know what it is. We'll figure it out.
Oh, really?
Later. Yeah, it's just you don't hear that. You're not wearing.
I don't have headphones on.
If you put your headphones on, I think you'd hear it, and it might just be me. It might be something inside my board. I'll have to.
I don't hear anything. I'm completely clear. Oh no, the little. What is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, something's definitely like doing something. I don't know. 15 seconds or so on that, by the way. Is that about that was?
Yeah, about that.
All right.
You'll have to put just a little top on it.
Okay. Yeah, there's a little bit of a click. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Podcast, Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West here in Oxford. It is a messy day. Maybe you're going to the basketball game tonight, Ole Miss, Kentucky, 8 o'clock from the pavilion. Maybe you are not. Either way, let them take care of dinner. Ribs tonight, lunch specials today, everything you can want. You can even call ahead. They'll wrap it up and have it ready to go, wet or dry, and ready for you there with, there it goes again. With the Oxford Exxon, the Blue Sky location, up and down I-55 and throughout North Mississippi as well. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio. If nobody else is hearing it, it's just in our headphones, so that would be a huge help at least. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Weird.
Okay. We are Clark Ford, Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is the number. You call it. You ask for Corey Clark. You tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle. There's no haggle. You get the quote. And the rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done multiple times, what I recommend that you do as well, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. You'll love the service. It's above and beyond service you get anywhere else. I feel pretty confident saying that. They'll take care of you. They want to be your car guy. They want to be your truck guy. They'll prove to you what that means when you make that call. 662-257-1900. Guest will join over the course of this week on the myperfectfranchise.net hotline. If you're a displaced corporate executive, you're wanting to put your career in your own hands. If you're an experienced entrepreneur wanting to diversify, Andy Ludicky can help. He's a longtime Rivals board member, a diehard college football fan, franchise veteran. He owns multiple franchises and businesses. He uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So call Andy, put your life and career in your own hands. It's 100% free, so you've got nothing to lose. Find your perfect franchise at myperfectfranchise.net or contact Andy anytime at andy@myperfectfranchise.net or 404-973-9901.
More of a topic for tomorrow, but National Signing Day coming up. The second one, obviously, the portal and the early signing period are by far the more relevant topics at this point. But you and I talked about it briefly before we started the show. The expectation is 2 tomorrow. Is that correct? Is that right?
2
as of now.
3. I can't. I'm not sure exactly how it works. They're still in on. Excuse me. They're still in on a handful of guys, but not. I mean, it's all been. If you subscribe to rebelgrove.com and you follow the daily recruiting thread, and there has been a daily recruiting thread every day but one in the entire month of January. We didn't have one on Saturday because there was nothing to update. It's the only day we didn't have one. Had one every other day. So it's 30 out of 31 days. You are aware of what's going on in recruiting. There's one kid that's down to like Ole Miss and State, the Davis kid.
Okay.
And there are people that are predictably covering it with far more drama than is necessary. How many family members went to each place and all that stuff?
What's he going to do?
I don't know.
Well, how many family members did go to each place?
He visited Ole Miss during a midweek, and so only his mom or dad came because people have jobs and stuff.
Okay.
And then when he went to state on the weekend, the whole family went because people often who have normal jobs don't work on weekends.
So you're saying there wasn't completely in a vacuum. I mean, you're saying there was some apples and oranges to that potentially in that situation.
Potentially.
Or not.
Or not. It might mean something. It might not.
It's very dramatic, actually. I'm really curious what he does tomorrow.
I wrote about this in 10 Thoughts.
Was that a harbinger to your decision that you took more?
I wrote about this in 10 Thoughts. I do believe that the people who get worked up about recruiting, it's because they miss recruiting season. If you think about it, recruiting season used to be a season. We didn't call it a season, but if you look back on it, it was a season. You had the last weekend of the regular season, Egg Bowl, Iron Bowl, all that stuff, right? And then there were a few days, and then literally that Sunday after the bowl games, not the bowl games, but the rivalry games, all the coaches went out on the road, and recruiting season officially kicks off. And you had 2 or 3 weekends in December where you had some visits, and then they took a break. You got a break for the holidays, and the coaches had the convention. You had the bowl season during the break. You had bowls. Coaches went to the convention, and when the coaches came back from the convention, it's Katie bar the door all the way to the first Wednesday of February.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, that's a season, and that season got eliminated, and people don't like change. And I'm not making fun.
I missed the season.
I'm not making our business misses.
Yeah,
the season.
I missed the season.
I'm not making fun of it. I'm just saying I've been trying to like do a psych op, if you will, to figure out like why are people so pissed off?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a lot of it.
There's continuous drama now because of the portal, but that's not the same thing. It's concentrated drama where we know exactly what's going on and we get to do because it's so many different things. I mean, now good luck doing like this centralized content item where it's, hey, predictions on where these kids are going and all this stuff because it's scattered throughout the year. You couldn't even make the list.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
Exactly.
And again, and I know we talk like 9 hours a week, so it does whatever it does. But it's another reason why people know the players less and whatever, because there's something to that season back in that day where you got them and you knew, hey, it's my dude for 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? Like there's a career to that. It's not even just a season. It's like a straight up career deal where, hey, the day, in that day in 13 when Tunzel and Kimdichie and Treadwell and Connor and they all commit and they sign and you start kind of planning it out in your head. You go, okay, 13, this is going to be kind of fun. And 14, do this. And hey, and 15 got a chance. And they're 3 years dudes and NFL and all that stuff. And then now, again, no matter how many jump in or don't jump in, there is a mercenary level to it to where it's not the same feeling when somebody signs. It's, hey, get everything you can have them now, keep them happy. What's the NIL number? There's all this secondary shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
Bad, good, whatever. Everybody can have it how they want to. But, I mean, look, again, do whatever you want to do to make you happy because you're within your rules. But, I mean, it's like the Davis and Igmanosin situation that's going on right now, which boggles my mind, frankly. It literally, I mean, it's my fault, okay? I assumed once he had enrolled into another institution, that was going to be the institution he went to for the semester. I mean, I'm
not picking on Davison. I
apologize.
I'm not picking on Davison here, but I sent him a text that night. Hey, congratulations on Tennessee. I wish you the best. If it's me and I haven't gone to Tennessee and we know each other, we've spent time together.
Yeah.
Talked more than you can imagine. And you would think that he would I'm not picking on Davison here, but you would think the response would be, "No, I hadn't done that yet." There you go. You'd think that you would just say that. He said, "Appreciate it." I took that.
Well, he appreciated that you reached out and the sentiment that you were supplying.
But I think any rational person would have assumed that meant, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
He's in the directory. I searched it myself.
Yeah.
Somebody sent me a screenshot, and I went, okay, but in today's world, you know what? We're going to verify, and we're going to make sure because things get photoshopped, whatever. I don't take anybody's word for shit anymore. So I'm going to check it myself. I go to Tennessee. I search the student directory, and sure enough, Davison Igmanosin pops in. I go, probably just one of them. That's him. And then he goes and visits Ohio State. He's being crystal balled. Which side is crystal balls? Is that 24/7?
I think that's right.
Everybody has their magic 8 ball. I forget whose is what. He's crystal balled to Ohio State by somebody.
I'm answering a few people because listen. It's just a podcast. That's all it is. It's just a podcast. It's not going to be perfect. One TV's bigger than the other. We can't put live video on there. YouTube would flag it. There'd be copyrights. We would get strikes. We already got one strike 2 years ago because I said something about COVID. It kind of just is. This is going to look like this for a little while, and I'll fix the stuff in the scroll. There's the misspelled word. I'll fix it later.
Yeah, we can fix the scroll. We can make that bigger, and we can figure out the timeout situation on the TV. I feel very confident. It's not a today issue.
That's all it is. Yeah. And I realize most people are just goofing around. But for the people who are like OCD about it, it's never going to be perfect.
Well, and you spent a lot of time on it yesterday, so
I did.
You're probably a little frazzled.
I spent a lot of time on it yesterday, just more than I wanted to spend, and it just is.
Yeah. We weren't going to not do a show today because the TV's timing out. That did not feel like the move. So
no.
But no, look.
And on the heels of a day where, to be totally honest, I had a lot of stuff going on, and in the middle of it, I kind of needed a mental health day. If I'm just being completely honest, kind of needed a mental health day.
I guess the point in all this is that what Davison, I mean, what he is an example of, what he is exhibiting, it's just kind of it's a microcosm of the circus that we're in right now, and it's not really making a mockery of anything, but it kind of is. I mean, this is stupid.
This is stupid. When's he going to school?
Which means if schools were on the quarter system, he could just wait till March.
Well, I mean, here's my question about it. I'm not picking on Davison.
He's the example of what we're talking about. As an
example. I like Davison. He's a nice young man. He came up to me at a practice and spoke, and we're good. I like Davison. But he's now missed at least a week and a half of school. So,
Ole Miss's first day was January 27th.
Last Monday.
Yeah, last Monday, whatever day that was.
So
23rd.
This is the 9th academic day. So,
and they're one of the later starters.
Yeah. So, like my girls started a week earlier than that. They started on the Tuesday after Martin Luther King Day.
Because Ole Miss allows tons of intercession stuff.
And I'm guessing that schedule was probably more, quote, mainstream than what Ole Miss did, because Ole Miss, like you said, is very big on the intercession thing.
Yeah.
No criticisms, just difference. Not criticizing one academic calendar over the other before I get those emails. It's okay. Just pointing out the example. But there's a decent chance that Tennessee and Ohio State, I don't know, but there's a decent chance that those are on the one like my girls at Arkansas.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe not, but probably. So we've admitted a lot of the quiet parts out loud for a while now. Are we admitting another one? That, they're not really student athletes. They just take some online classes. I mean, what are we doing?
Who was upset? What commissioner or president was talking about that here in the last week? I read something where somebody was basically pointing out the student athlete ridiculousness that was going on currently. Might have been like Conference USA or something, but somebody was railing against that term, essentially, that as we go farther and further down this path, it doesn't, yeah.
Someone says Brain Drain has running highlights of the Auburn game. I don't know how he does that.
Would you? Because even if the school gave you rights, it still would be the TV partner that would have the rights. That would not be legal.
And I wouldn't know how to do that. And to be honest, I don't care enough to learn.
I don't think it's legal, though.
It's probably,
at least in a major sport.
You'd have to have something up at all times.
Yeah, I mean, you could play a video with just running highlights.
But you have to put courtesy of, and you'd have to have
even
permission.
Then, that's the
yeah.
It really would just depend on how much they cared.
And I just don't know that. Yeah.
Grind says forcing these kids to be students is the stupid part. The problem is if you don't force them to be students, all emotional connection leaves. You have a minor league sport that no one is attached to, and frankly, they don't watch as much because it's a worse product than the professional sport. It's like what Gabe said last week.
Gabe's exactly right. Like,
you have to do the student part because a
lot of people
telling you college sports has to have an emotional connection. It just does.
A lot of people watch the Atlanta Braves, right?
To make it this level of success, at least, obviously.
A lot of people watch the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, sure.
Do they watch the Gwinnett Braves?
Well, no.
A lot of people watch the Chicago Cubs. Like, a lot of people hang on the Chicago Cubs. How many people hang on what the Iowa Cubs do?
Very little.
You got to be careful when you become minor leagues. The assumption that younger generations growing up with this will just follow along is one hell of an assumption. That they'll just carry on the passion and the tradition and all that stuff. Some will, not all.
Well, you would bring that stuff into play. You would bring it where you're competing in some ways with the lower level of whatever it is you're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, because if I'm looking for interest in something, I might have more, and I don't know exactly how the NBA set up, but you might have more interest in a G League team. I might have more interest in a minor league baseball team. I might have more interest in whatever the junior version of soccer is or whatever, all that kind of stuff. I mean, once you take away that I am supporting this and it is part of my discretionary time and income and everything else because I am connected to this. We are part of the same institution. We went to the same classes. We toured the same campus. We ate in the same places. That's my dude, and he wears my uniform.
Sure.
That matters.
Of course.
That's the reason. I mean, that's
it. I think they're – I don't want to be old man on the lawn yelling at the clouds because I don't think I'm that guy. Some people might disagree, but I don't really think I'm that way. You've known me pretty well. I don't really think that's me. I'm not the guy longing for the old days. That's not me at all. I think they're starting to play with fire a little bit with the portal.
Well, I mean, you know where I stand.
I mean, I think there needs to be a set window. Like, I don't think, hey, we're going to have another month of this in May. Okay. I mean, someone goes, it was a mailbag question. It was a good question. He said over under 17 total changes in May. And my answer was just at the moment, because I was so fatigued with it, was, Jesus, I hope it's under. That's it. That's all I can think about. But 17 more changes where people who follow see, here's the thing. The people who subscribe to sites like ours, they're the hardcore fans.
Yeah, they're fairly knowledgeable because they're locked in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know what those numbers are. You need 60,000 people in the stadium. We don't have 60,000 subscribers. If we did, I would be doing the show from a remote island somewhere. When the casual fan shows up and is like, who is that? And who is that? And who is that? I don't know that, especially if that's every year. Like, it's one thing.
Hey, that guy's our quarterback. What number is he?
I can remember. I'll use the Cubs for an example. There have been years in the past where they were rebuilding or they were tearing it down, and you'd look up each day and like, who the hell is that? Who's that in center field? Who? But when things were going good, Chase, you knew, oh yeah, that's Baez at short. Chris Bryant's at third. Ben Zobrist is in left today, not second. You knew the people. Anthony Rizzo was at first base every day for 6-7 years. You knew who those people were. That's when the sport's healthy. I don't think when people are having to pull out their scorecard, when everybody's having to buy a program because they can't figure out who the hell number 82 is. I don't know that doing that year over year over year is a particularly healthy thing. And I think that's where they're headed right now. And they can't figure out how to sort of corral it. They can't put windows in it because they don't know how to stop it. I don't think that's particularly healthy for the sport. It's just me.
I mean, it's completely not. at all. Again, they had time to fix it, but you see the path. You see the slope that we are starting to skim down. And I mean, look, pointing this all out, college football doing anything but increasing is bad for our business.
Sure. And people are saying the ratings are off the charts and all that stuff. I get it.
It's early. That's not the point. It's hey, when you look back in 20 years, you go, hey, where'd it go wrong?
Right. You and I are on the same. You and I are on the same
it's
page
not today.
Here. No.
Still, Rome is still really good. You're good. You're awesome.
Things don't
golden streets.
Things don't die from the top. They die at the roots. And I'm not saying it's dying, but it's weird. That's all. I think it's weird. I think you're going to see more people kind of get like turned off to it as we go. I don't think the now maybe they're going to fix it, because I do think, and that's one of the reasons I wrote about it. I do think Sankey speaking up in late December, early January, whenever that was, I guess it was early January, it was before the title game, about the calendar. He thinks this December signing period is bad. The coaches despise it. They hate it. They hate it with a white-hot passion, like 90% to 10%. They despise it. So I don't know whether that sort of fixes itself. But the other thing now is that guys are starting to plan their college careers around the portal. If you enroll early and you go through summers and intersessions, you can sign with the school, use your portal transfer, and then use your grad transfer, because you can graduate in 3 years.
Yeah.
So you can plan to play 4 seasons at 3 different places.
Yes.
With a built-in injury year.
Yeah, completely how it's set up.
It's completely set up where you could play 2 years at Ole Miss, 1 year at Florida, and 2 years or a year at USC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the damnedest thing. Podcast brought to you in part by the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation. Your national champions are back for another exciting year of Ole Miss baseball. You can show your support for efforts on the field this season by signing up for the Pledge Per Win and Pledge Per Home Run campaigns. Donations are charged every Monday. They're allocated into your Blue Priority Points total and up to 90% tax deductible. You can sign up today by visiting givetoathletics.com/donate or call the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation at 662-915-7159.
We're also brought to you by Corinth Dental. Don't accept what you see, but imagine something new. Step forward, chase after a better version of yourself. Every day, Corinth Dental is helping people reinvent themselves one smile at a time. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures, including Invisalign. These clear aligners are the virtually invisible way to improve your smile. So call Corinth Dental today for a no-cost digital scan of your teeth. Let them show you the way to a straighter, healthier smile. 12 months, no interest, no down payment financing is available at corinthdental.com. We're also brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. They've been connecting great job opportunities to candidates since 1967. If you're on the job hunt, whether you're seeking an entry-level position or you're a seasoned professional, they have opportunities across the board. IT, engineering, dentistry, accounting, law, manufacturing, human resources, and much more. It's also a great way if you are looking to hire quality, hard-to-find talent. They can help you as well. Give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call, 662-832-5138, or check out their new and improved website at servicespecialistltd.com. I'll have a mailbag up tomorrow. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt, Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all of your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial and residential family homes. 662-567-2573, 662-842-3844. If you're coming to town anytime soon, whether it's for basketball or baseball or whatever the case may be, make sure you stop by Opa. It's Oxford's new Greek restaurant on the square. It's a perfect place to enjoy a dinner, fabulous food, craft libations as well, candlelit patio, so much there at Opa, just off the square in Oxford. And speaking of trips, if you're planning one, maybe you're thinking about spring, maybe you're thinking about summer, maybe you're already looking ahead to a holiday vacation, get in touch with John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. John knows the extra attention that's needed to make a special trip one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. Just give him some parameters, give him a budget, and he will give you options. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901 494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net.
Podcast also brought to you by Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. 7 different flavors available for you, including their most recent, their New Orleans barbecue style shrimp. It's fantastic. Their signature's fantastic. Over pretty much everything. They've got spicy options, full meals in a bag, and their 2-pound bags of individually frozen shrimp. A lot like what's at the grocery store. It's a higher quality from the New Orleans-based brand. New offer here for you now. Use code RG, that's in Rebel Grove, RG. They're going to offer 25% off 5 pouches or more with code RG. You can do that even if you've used them before. It's not first-time customers. It's anybody. So 5 pouches, RG, 25% off with primeshrimp.com. Ole Miss loses to Oklahoma State on Saturday in Stillwater on Saturday night. Part of the SEC going 3-7 in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. I think Big 12 comes first this year. They alternate which conference gets first billing. For some reason, I believe the Big 12 had it this season, but
good for them.
Their first win in the series since 2019, but they are up overall. Big 12 is a good basketball league.
Very.
Yeah, they're not bad whatsoever. SEC gave a couple away. Could have been 5-5, but they also got very lucky with State winning because TCU was down 2 of their better players, including their best player. So,
arguably their 2 best players.
Yeah. So, it's like I saw a couple State memory games go huge win. They're get back in it. It's like, had those 2 guys been healthy, you would have lost by 18.
Yeah.
You can't score. They can't score because they didn't have their 2 best players. It's like I went through the Twitter feeds and nobody mentioned it. Nobody even said the dude's out. And I'm like, oh.
Nope. So, different beat. But now, in fairness, they're not the only.
We don't talk about them because Auburn and A&M are so
way.
far over here that like nobody's even in their like county.
You saying Auburn's a cult?
I'm saying I formally apologize to Texas A&M on the board the other day. They all of my condolences. Yes, sorry, Grind. Love you.
Specifically apologizing for
ridiculing only A&M over the course of the years in unilateral cultness.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
cultitude.
Cultitude, sure, whatever. Anyway, 3-7.
If State had a bigger following, I think they'd be right there with them. I just think it's because they're smaller that they're not quite that way.
Not as nationally relevant, smaller.
Well, and just smaller in general. Like, I just think it's different. But it's there. It's in the family, in the ballpark.
I do love you, Grind. I completely love you. We're all good. And now, look, Auburn's still nowhere near A&M. I mean, they still have the throne. Don't get me wrong. You have no Korean marching band. You don't. I like your band.
By the way, A&M keeps marching on in basketball. They're solid right now. There were some really interesting games. So I watched
Missouri knocking off Iowa State. They're a tournament
watched
team.
some of that. Missouri's a tournament team.
They're a tournament team.
I watched Auburn, West Virginia, and I guess I saw the end of the first half of that and all of the second half of that. And then I watched just about all of Alabama, Oklahoma, which was a really interesting game. Because if you didn't know better, like if you just watched the game and you didn't know records and stuff, and then someone came back and said, one of these teams is ranked second in the country, you would have said, oh, wow, Oklahoma. And when you watch Oklahoma, they got a couple of bigs who are pretty skilled, got a couple of wings who can go off. That Sherfield, he had a really good game. Their guard play is adequate. But they had no business whipping Alabama the way they did, and they dominated Alabama. They destroyed Alabama. It was a hell of a performance.
So what's going on with Bama? They kind of look weird against State and a win in Tuscaloosa, and then they get hammered.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it's still hellaciously good. It's a long season. I'm not gonna go, oh, they're gone. It's over.
It's probably just a midseason malaise.
Okay,
but it's worth noting that and it's probably a coincidence.
I get what you're doing.
But it comes on the heels of an incident that's probably a major distraction inside their program.
Sure.
One of their players was arrested for felony murder.
Yeah.
Or capital murder, I should say. Murder is obviously a felony. That would be an oxymoron.
Redundancy.
There's no such thing as a misdemeanor murder.
No.
But, you wonder. And then, I don't know, they just kind of got beat in the post. So I don't know what that's about. And then I watched Baylor, Arkansas, which was a really good game. both of the two lottery picks in that game, George for Baylor and Black for Arkansas, both kind of got going.
Mm-hmm.
And if the officials would have just let them play, it would have been so entertaining. But they don't. They just get in the damn way of games. And then I watched Missouri, like you talked about. And so by the end of the day, I was kind of college basketballed out. I mismanaged the timing of my day. I didn't watch Ole Miss, Oklahoma State. And from the sounds of it, I didn't miss much.
82-60 there, Cowboys over the Rebels in that one. So, yeah, that was the three SEC wins. Missouri, Tennessee looked really good against Texas. They whipped the Longhorns in Knoxville on Saturday afternoon and evening. It was 5 o'clock start.
Tennessee is so good defensively that now look, they could get the wrong draw and the wrong whistle.
Of course.
In a tournament, lose in the second round, and everyone's going to do the Rick Barnes jokes. But if you watch them play, and I've watched them probably 12 times, if you watch them play, they got a shot to win the whole damn thing.
It's mentioned in the thing, and I've watched them some just kind of in passing. I watched their game against Kansas because it was entertaining, and watched them against Florida. I like Kansas State a lot nationally. Kansas State's fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, I find myself pulling for Keontae Thompson, so I'm just kind of watching them because of him.
It's a great story.
I mean, he's having – and look, he should. I mean, he literally fell out on the court. They weren't sure what his situation was about life, not about basketball. He is having so much fun on the court in a great way that you go, that's captivating. I'm watching him because he's enjoying himself so much.
I feel like we're building to a conversation that we didn't even intend to build to. No, it's why basketball can be such a fun sport. I was talking about the Oklahoma game, and I spend more time than I should probably checking out Sooner Scoop because I like some of the stuff that they do.
Yeah, sure.
And they had this interview with Porter Moser, the Oklahoma coach. The students stormed the court after the game, more of in a celebratory way. It was fun. And basketball hasn't been big in Norman in a while. And he talked about how he'd been going around campus. And Porter Moser's he's the one that took Loyola to the Final Four. He's a pretty charismatic guy, pretty captivating. And he talked about how he had been going all over campus, I assume, to the sororities and the fraternities and the clubs and whatever.
Yeah.
Basically begging the kids to come because they'd stopped coming to the college games.
Sure.
To the basketball games. And they came to the Baylor game the other night. Baylor's good. Taron George, man, I love watching him play. He's a stud. God, he's still good. I wish he could follow the Thunder in the draft, but he won't. They got a big crowd to show up for the Baylor game, and I think Oklahoma lost in overtime. And he talked about how he felt like at that time, like, oh, man, I got him to come, and we couldn't deliver. And they came back out for that mid-afternoon game against Bama, and they delivered, and the kids were so excited. And he stayed out on the court, and they're like, what were you doing? And he said, well, I was doing two things. One, I was just kind of taking it in. And two, I was making sure that I thanked as many of them as I could. And you could see in the video him walking around. The kids are, they all have their cell phones out recording it, right? And they're all jumping up and down and stuff. And you can see him going individual to individual to individual out on the floor, thanking them for coming to the game. And college basketball is supposed to be fun. And it's a student deal. Like, you watch Cameron Indoor and you watch the Duke fans behind the kids, behind the benches or whatever and stuff across from the benches. And it's just kind of fun to watch. And anyway, Kansas State's that way. And Thompson's a big part of that. Baylor was that way. It was packed at Baylor the other night. I mean, it was just that's the sport is a crowd-driven sport in a way that
it's the epitome of college athletics. It's emotion. It's event. It's
intimate.
Yeah.
It's quick.
It's 2 hours. It's packed. It's loud. Bomb going off out.
Yeah.
It's a microwave.
Yeah. And when you don't have that element of it.
And there's two different ways for fans to be really engaged, and both are equally fun in their own ways. The powerhouse that wins a lot of games, and you're there and you're trying to really compete for big things, and the build. Both are fun in their own ways.
Yeah.
even more than the, hey, huge win as you're both top 10 teams, that first big win when you're building. You know what I mean? Like when you knock them off and you go, hey, look, it's coming. It's got something here. That's almost even more exhilarating for the fan than sometimes when you almost have the nervousness because the stakes are so big and you're worried about this and you're doing all this kind of stuff.
I watched a Thunder game last night that was that way.
Yeah, where it's like, oh.
I mean, made the Warriors play, not to get off that subject, but the Warriors had to show up. The Warriors had to play last night to finish the Thunder. And the crowd's building. They're getting bigger crowds, and you can feel it. Like, people are like, oh, boy, we've got some young guys, and they're coming, and this is going to be fun. And that's fun.
It's not all fun.
Meanwhile, Ole Miss has Kentucky in town tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I was going.
There's no build.
Kentucky tonight, what should be the biggest home game of the year because it's Kentucky. It usually is. I mean, I was, even with Ole Miss's history, looking back over the years, hey, what games do you remember the most? You remember Chris Warren hitting the shot to beat Kentucky at Tad Smith with under AK and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's Kentucky. It's still the golden standard in the SEC from a program standpoint. It's Cal coming back. It's all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, there was no media op yesterday, which again limits pregame content to whatever degree.
It was interesting because we'd been told late last week that there would be a media op on Monday. And there wasn't one, and I don't know whether to read into that, whether it was just because they had a conflict with practice and meetings, which is more likely than anything else. I don't think they're ducking topics. Deshaun Ruffin didn't make the trip. It was a coach's decision. That's going to get asked about. Matthew Morrell didn't play the other night. Hasn't played since injuring his knee at Arkansas. I don't know whether he's back tonight or not. I would assume it's a game time decision yet again. The Malik Ewan thing is still out there. It has not been, to my knowledge, resolved. So there's stuff. And then you have a team that tonight's the midway point of the SEC. Ole Miss is a underdog, so let's just say it's chalk and they lose by 6.5 points. They're 1-8 at the turn in the SEC. They're 9-12 right now overall, so obviously 9-13 would be the record if they lose tonight.
And they've lost 21 of their last 26, if I have that correct.
That's correct. 21 of their last 26 league games.
Yeah, correct, yeah, sorry.
Right, SEC games.
Yeah.
So
it is what it is.
But
yeah, look, you can get tickets as low as $3 for the game tonight to get in with Kentucky in town. Now, Kentucky's not bringing its normal allotment, but they shouldn't have to.
And you have a weather issue.
But at least attended a Kentucky game that I have seen from as a person around Ole Miss in the last 2 decades.
Yeah. It's the first time in my 15 years on the beat that I can remember. Now, maybe there's another time.
Sure.
But it's the first time that I can remember kids screaming across the way.
Sounded like a crow or something. Like it was like.
Yeah, it was just one of the boys across the street.
Okay.
They don't have school for another couple hours. It's the first time I can remember that they've played Kentucky in a home basketball game and there's been no buzz at all. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's another time. I just don't remember it off the top of my head, which doesn't say much, but it's just the truth.
And to discuss this, Austin says almost basketball feels like we're dancing around an elephant. I don't think anybody's dancing around at this point. I'll say it. I don't see a scenario at this point where Kermit Davis is back next year as the head coach. But at the same time, there's plenty of time to discuss candidates and boards and that kind of stuff. It just isn't time for that yet.
I led 10 thoughts with the conversation about Chris Beard.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like we're ducking it.
No. Because from a college athletics standpoint, the Chris Beard conversation is fascinating. Somebody's going to hire him. Maybe not this year, but next year. They just are. There's no way 300 and something ADs are going to say no to Chris Beard.
No,
forever.
I agree. I was going to say.
As long as charges remain off, obviously.
The charges have to be dropped. But if the charges are dropped, and the strong suspicion around Austin, and I talked to some people there over the weekend, is that they're going to be dropped. If she's unwilling to testify against him and she's retracted
there's
her,
no case.
You don't have a case. So you're wasting taxpayer dollars if you're putting a case in front of a jury that you can't get a conviction.
Someone who's already been fired and, to the best of my knowledge, is still with the other person.
Yeah.
So
They've put the house on the market, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think Chris Beard's going to be a coach somewhere. And so the decision that you have to make at a place like Ole Miss, assuming that he's cleared between now and the time that you hire a coach, is twofold. Are we 100% confident that it won't happen again? And then you're going to take a beating, okay? You're going to take a 3 to 6 day, depending on how it goes, PR beating. Dan Wolken's going to blow you up. Pat Forty is going to destroy you. Dennis Dodd is going to light you on fire. You know that coming in. So you have to decide, can we go, hey, take your shots, we don't care, or are you going to get defensive? Because if the answer is we're going to get defensive, then you just don't need to do it. And if the answer is we don't really care, we just want to win. Okay. Because like I wrote, we're kind of there with the rest of sports. We're saying quiet parts out loud.
I got to know what happened, though.
I do too.
I don't know.
No, I do too. I do too. I got to know, did you choke her?
Yeah, because if so, I'm out.
You bit her?
I'm out.
What's that about? Or was it, no, it was an argument. And she hit his glasses, and he hit her glasses, and next thing you know, people are yelling and screaming, and she picks up the phone, and she calls 911, and maybe the police report said there was no alcohol involved. Maybe there was. Maybe it was an emotional thing. Maybe there had been something else that had happened inside or outside of the relationship. I have no idea, but I'd have to know. And then I got to know it's not going to happen again. And then, Chase, let me say the other part out loud. He turns 50 in a month. He's 1 day younger than my wife. He turns 50 in a month. He took Texas freaking Tech. Nothing against Texas Tech.
I mean, Lubbock is a basketball factory. I don't know.
Nothing against Texas Tech. I'm sure it's great. But he took Texas Tech. Everybody keeps going, took him to the national championship. He did. A year before, he took him to the Elite Eight.
He is one hell of a basketball coach. So on floor and in recruiting, he is a top 10 national basketball coach.
So
period.
Ole Miss is never.
You hate never.
I hate never, and I hate that I'm probably inviting some emails again.
Without some real connection previously.
Okay.
Yes.
Ole Miss is never getting a top 10 coach in men's college basketball to come to Ole Miss in the prime of his career unless he's damaged goods.
Right.
So you have to decide, can you bring on the damage? You're buying something off the rat that's damaged. You know it's damaged when you buy it. So when you buy it and there's like a sweater or something and it's got a little tear right here.
It's Gucci, but it's at TJ Maxx.
Because it's got something wrong with it. It's got a scratch on it.
The sleeve's a little longer on the right than the left.
You know that going in.
The question is there a big-ass stain on the back you don't see yet?
That's what you got to ask. That's what you got to ask.
What kind of person is he?
Yep.
And I don't mean look, nobody's choir boys, but come on.
Yeah.
Because if he strangled her, you cannot hire him.
And then the other guy that we haven't written about, because I don't think it's worth writing about, because I think he's going to get a long show cause, except for the fact that the group that is administering punishment in this has yet to give anyone a show cause. What if Will Wade doesn't get a show cause? What if Will Wade's free and clear?
All right. Give me 2 minutes to ponder it. Podcast brought to you in part by Johnson Hill, johnsonhillcreamery.com, Instagram page. Valentine's Day pre-orders ready to go by the dozen. You can get cannolis, macaroons, chocolate-covered strawberries, brown butter chocolate chip cookies. It is still king cake season. A lot of different flavors, including their new blueberry cheesecake. 24 hours notice to take care of that with Johnson Hill Creamery. You can order most of it right there online. Pick up for the Valentine's Day. It's on Valentine's Day. That's 10 to 5 o'clock open on that day. So johnsonhillcreamery.com/shop to place your order today.
Podcast also brought to you by Pinnacle based in Madison, Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. They've got clients in multiple states, advisors in multiple states as well. So what they do is they provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. Investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotion. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. Valentine's Day, about 2 weeks away now. If you are shopping for jewelry, we highly recommend Lammons Fine Jewelry in Oxford, 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford, serving the Oxford area for 3/4 of a century. Engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, children's jewelry, collectibles, and so much more. They've got it. It's the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at lammonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. We're also brought to you by ACS. ACS owned by Clay McNutt, the Beast of Baldwin, there in Baldwin, Mississippi. It's a complete electrical control system solution provider, a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. ACS has a full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff, a UL 508A panel shop. They can custom tailor software packages, custom design electrical control panel solutions, and much, much more. It's ACSLLCMS.com or call 662-601-4381. Game Changer patches are the only 2-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. Warm-up patch used before or while you drink. The overtime patch used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for the next play. Go to GameChangerPatch.com, promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase.
Podcast is brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync for your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. One trip to the pharmacy, one delivery. You have everything you need when you need it with G&M. Again, they can transfer your medications easily. One call, they take care of the rest. Again, 662-236-2222. Okay. First, before I do this just ran across my, we'll get back to Will Wade in a second. Story of the day, if you have not seen this. It's from TMZ. Here's a new one. A 22-year-old high school basketball coach is out of a job after trying to pass as a 13-year-old player in a junior varsity game.
Wait, what?
Yeah, according to local reports, Arlisha Boykins, an assistant for the Churchland High School Truckers in Virginia, impersonated one of her players who was away for from the team for a club basketball tournament on January 21st. Instead of playing with one less hooper, Boykins apparently took matters into her own hands and suited up as the student athlete. Footage obtained by WA, shows the full-grown adult balling out against the competition, driving the lane for a layup, getting a block, and nailing free throws. The outlet reports Boykins was fired as a result of the stunt, and the rest of the JV players and parents elected to opt out of the remainder of the season. The 13-year-old father spoke about the situation, admitting he was, quote, shocked the coach would do such a thing. The school is now investigating the incident, and the student's family is asking for an apology. A JV game, by the way.
I got nothing.
Okay, here's my question. I have many, but my main one, and we'll move back on to Will Wade because this isn't relevant. I just needed to get that out there, is if you're in the stands and you're a parent of the other players, how does the game even happen? Like, how do you not go, hold on?
That's not her.
Yeah, hell no.
Right.
That's the coach. Stop.
My guess.
Ref, we have a problem.
My guess is that there was shock. And then people sat around and looked at each other and go, do we say something? And that things were getting said probably on cell phones and stuff, but that nobody knew what exactly to do. Yeah. To take matters into his or her own hands and walk down onto the court and tell a ref she's not 13, she's a coach. That one right there. And maybe there was a shred of doubt. I don't know. I haven't seen the people.
I haven't either. But
dear God.
Well, if the player was out on a club trip, she probably was a very good player because she was missing for
a JV game. It's going to be okay.
You can't take that L. Hey, look, you got to.
Yeah.
It's.
Well, everybody wants to win that JV national championship.
I think I saw, and this is not a criticism, I'm really kind of curious. Do they have junior high state championships now? For some reason, I thought I saw like Booneville Junior High won like the state championship this year in basketball.
Really? Oh,
Did I miss this? I thought on Twitter I saw something about middle school championships.
That's new to me.
Which would be fine. I have no problem with that.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah. Kind of like it, actually. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, Will Wade. Okay.
Because we're doing hypotheticals.
You're saying if no show calls.
So there's a hypothetical on Beard, obviously, if charges are dropped.
Yeah, that's an easy. That is a simple one to understand.
On Wade, if there is no show cause, if the case is adjudicated.
Will Wade, though, wins because he accumulates more talent than everyone else. Yeah. That's how Will Wade wins.
Well, you can do that here, too.
He's not a terrific coach.
No.
Frankly, he gets out-coached very often.
Really good recruiter.
Can he be that level recruiter here? Can he stimulate?
The rumor on him is that he brings his own NIL.
But does it completely translate the same way?
I don't know. Saying. I don't know.
I got more questions with him.
I do too.
I don't.
Is Will Wade a splash? Does Will Wade get people excited? Does Will Wade get people into the arena?
Amazing.
What about Beard? What happens with Beard? Do female fans go, nope, I'm not doing that? How's that work? How do you explain it? Because I think you'd have to talk about it. I don't think you could have the press conference where you pretended that it didn't happen.
Yeah, Tyler just said yes. Booneville boys, Belmont girls won the state championships at East Mississippi Community College in middle school. There you go. North Mississippi Powers. Well, I mean, that's not going to happen because you don't bring more attention to it. No, hell no. You just bury your head and just move on with your, hey.
If you're Ole Miss?
Yeah, hell yeah. No. Why allow Pat Forty to come to the press conference and kill you that way where he makes you answer? No, hell no. Just shut up.
Okay.
The news cycle moves. Oh, let it go.
It definitely moves.
Yeah, no.
I mean, the news cycle moves so fast now that it's unbelievable how fast it moves.
Yeah, no,
stuff that used to last
months. The press release
months.
is head coach who led Texas Tech to 2 Elite Eights, including the national championship game, blah, 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 blah.
I mean, he went 30-5 at Little Rock. Took Texas to the second round in year one. Was building an elite recruiting class. Again,
every time you're asked about it, I was cleared of all charges. It was a night that I deeply regret. We had a very intense few minutes. We have since reconciled, and we are both trying as hard as we can to move on with our lives. I really appreciate this opportunity that Keith Carter and the Ole Miss Athletics Department is giving me, and my job is to win basketball games for Ole Miss Athletics.
It's PR 101.
That's it.
Yep.
Next question, ask the same thing. I'd just like to thank Keith Carter and the Ole Miss.
Yeah, I just answered that.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
That's it. You stamp that paragraph on his arm, and he repeats it every time.
Yeah.
It would be the Chris Beard or Will Wade version of I'm just here not to get fined. I mean,
Will Wade, frankly, Will Wade wouldn't say it this way, but he'd say the stuff that I got in trouble for is legal now.
That's true.
I'm just good at it. And make no mistake, all Will Wade did that was different from anybody else was he got caught on a tape recording. The going out and buying players and brokering deals to buy players, he ain't the only one.
Yeah, I think Will Wade he would be the great case study, and I think he would be if you could, again, I think he's going to show call, so I think this is a completely irrelevant conversation, but it's January 31st. So
what is it, IARP, is that what it's called? That group, the NCAA group that remember they set up a separate deal to speedily. The
commission or whatever.
Yeah, they just did Memphis.
Yeah.
There was no hit.
Yeah. Will Wade, my point is, Will Wade is the epitome because, look, he grimy, people, whatever, complete and utter asshole that becomes your asshole when he starts winning.
Sure.
Oh, no, he's funny all of a sudden. Sure. Hey, go get Nate Oates.
Sure.
Whereas from the outside, you go, I wish Nate Oates would stick a boot so far up right now.
But look, you can't get those guys at Ole Miss if they're not damaged goods. Just can't do it. No, never have. So it's the decision you have to make. And then you have to go, okay, well, if we don't do that and we go back down the mid-major route, does that excite anybody?
Well, that's a good point. Did LSU people like Will Wade?
They liked when he won.
What? That's not my question. As a human.
I don't know. They liked when he won.
Okay.
Ole Miss people love Lane Kiffin. How many of them know him as a human?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I mean, nobody knows him. Not saying he's a bad guy or anything else. No one knows him. They like him because he won. If Lane stops winning, they'll stop liking him. Everybody liked Matt Luke as a human.
Loved him, Matt Luke. Good dude.
Didn't win. It's all about winning. The same people that wanted to fire Mike Bianco are going to be out there to jump up and down when they unveil the statue. It's about winning.
Yeah.
2 years ago, everybody at Arkansas wanted to give Sam Pittman a lifetime contract. Now most of them want him fired. Why? Because he didn't win. It's about winning. All about winning. It's nothing
There's
about...
no decade loyalty.
Don't give me anything else, but it's winning. College athletics have become this weird thing where it's and I'm not criticizing it, it's different. It's all about winning. Yes, LSU loved Will Wade when he won. He was their asshole. And they defended him.
Defended the hell out of him during all that.
And he was good. And they were good. And they won a bunch of games. And that arena was fun. It was.
Yeah. P-Mac rocking.
Yep. So the answer is yes. That's why I don't think it's quite as complicated as other people make it out to be. And that's not my call. And I'm not the one that has to sit there. And I'm not the one that has to defend it and inside the community and things like that when people go, I can't believe you did that. My answer, I think, would be,
I just think in a world where Beard is hireable, again, all the things we talked about, I think he's more of a sure thing than Will Wade.
I mean, he's an elite basketball
That's my
coach.
argument.
Here's the deal. You can get an elite basketball coach probably at a pretty affordable price. And for him to jump from Ole Miss to back to a bigger job, two things have to happen. Two things must happen. One, he has to be clean. And two, he's got to win.
And so if you've won in the process, you go get somebody who's better than what you've had.
So you help him pack his stuff and you say thanks for the time, and you go get another guy. Because it's pretty obvious that the stuff would be in the contract that if anything happened, you're done. That moment.
What do you think McMahon does there in 3 or 4 years? Is he going to win?
I don't know. I have a shot. I mean, he inherited he had to rebuild a completely new roster. It's going to take a minute. And he had to be careful. Let's face it. He couldn't go cheat with this thing hanging over them.
Yeah, look, I don't know what other opportunities Chris Beard may or may not have, but I would assume that most places that pay more than $3.5 million that are in the SEC are not going to hire him. Ole Miss would be one of his better options, should that be a possibility.
Agreed.
You could pay him $4 million.
I don't even think
might even have to because of his situation.
I'd guess you wouldn't have to. Mike could get away with 2.5.
Which is probably about what you're paying some of the mid-major guys if you hire Dusty May or Ryan Kelsey or one of those dudes.
Then, I mean,
everybody in the coaching cycle last year in the SEC made 2.4 to 3 with two guys, maybe Gates and Paris being at 2.4 and then Mike being at 3.
Grind brings up a really good point, and in a roundabout way, it's a question I'd have. No, it's not Grind, it's Allen. Allen says Nike's got McMahon's back. He'll be fine. My question, one of the questions I would have is, would any of these shoe companies that help supply players, because that's how this works,
yeah, sure,
are they still with Beard?
Yeah.
Or have they abandoned him?
Right. And I do not know the answer.
I don't know the answer to that. Could you get players?
Frankly, they probably don't know the answer to that yet.
Could you get players?
Yeah. That's the question with anyone.
But I guess the difference, is you go get Dusty May or what's Kelsey's first name?
Ryan, right? Is it not Ryan?
That doesn't sound right.
Okay. I keep saying that, but go ahead.
At College of Charleston. Does that move the needle in a way that people are filling up your arena, that the students are coming out, that people are excited? Because, again, watch the game in Norman.
Pat Kelsey.
I don't
know why I keep saying Ryan.
Watch the game in Norman on Saturday. That's what college basketball is supposed to feel like. Watch the game in Morgantown on Saturday with Auburn in town and Charles Barkley at courtside. That's what college basketball is supposed to look like. Watch the game in Waco on Saturday with Arkansas in town. That's what college basketball is supposed to look like. Then watch the game tonight and tell me that that's not what college basketball is supposed to look like. You've got to figure out, how do you get there? How do you make it exciting? How do you make it relevant? How do you make it fun?
Yeah. Make it where the biggest thing in the night is not whether or not Steak and Shake ran out of milkshakes or anything else, because the basketball was
fun.
The environment, the basketball,
was
the
fun.
arena.
It was fun. And you had good players going up against other teams' good players.
Yeah.
Because if you were just at the game in Morgantown on Saturday, that was fun. If you were at the game in Norman, that was fun. If you were at the game in Waco, that was fun. If you were at the game in Manhattan, Kansas, it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's fascinating, though. And I mean, the weird part of this is we having this conversation. We know all where this is headed. And again, as you said, tonight in Kentucky is the midway point of this conference season.
Yeah.
There are 9 games left after tonight.
Plus a tournament game.
So 10 games left beyond this, as they're trying to avoid going to 1-8 in the SEC tonight against Sheboygan and the Wildcats. So anyway. Podcast is brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, NESPARC, 2 packages, the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's nespark.com. 662-238-3159. Phone service, parental controls, network security, and much more. So to get the best internet in Lafayette County, also parts of Union and Pontotoc counties, that's 662-238-3159.
Remind me to say something about Pat Kelsey in a second. We're also brought to you by Solutions RX. It's a probiotic multivitamin supplement company created by Ole Miss pharmacy alum Chris Cornelison. It's pharmaceutical grade, manufactured right here inside Mississippi. If you take diabetes medicine, high blood pressure medication, cholesterol medications, they can cause side effects like muscle pain, brain fog, energy loss due to a depletion of minerals and vitamins in the body. But Chris formulated a product that's called Prescription Support, puts those vitamins back into your body, helps with those side effects, makes you more compliant in taking your meds, helps you stay healthier over the long term. SolutionsRx.com, promo code OEP at checkout. Get 10% off your order. A-Stock Auctions is a Nashville-based online auction company with the mission to provide customers the power to name their price. All items at A-Stock start at just $1. That's right. Every item starts at just $1. Shop now at astock.bid. Download their app. Name your price on thousands of items from big-name retailers. A-Stock has multiple locations around Nashville that offer local pickups. So if you don't miss out, if you want it, bid it, win it. We're also brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern, 662-429-4429. The College Corner is your one-stop Rebel Shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area in Ridgeland. It's next to Fleet Feet in Flowood. It's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, just go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. They have the largest selection of Rebel gear in central Mississippi. Walk-On's Sports Bistro puts everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana dig into their mouth-watering, made-from-scratch Louisiana cuisine, po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers, fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs, 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. Check them out in Oxford or Ridgeland today. And if you haven't tried Dead Soxy, now's the time. DeadSoxy.com, best socks you'll ever put on your feet. Go to DeadSoxy.com, enter the promo code Rebel Grove at checkout. Get 25% off all orders, including sale items at DeadSoxy.com. So here's my point about Pat Kelsey.
Sure.
I'm not sure you could get Pat Kelsey. Pat Kelsey's not damaged goods. Pat Kelsey's had a really good job where he is right now. He likes Charleston. He's got a young family. He's going to have other opportunities. He's going to win there. He can wait a year. He can look at the Ole Miss job and go, oh, no, it's not the one. Tough league.
Well, and people are going to, if there's an open job, he is going to be on their list.
Right.
At least on their list.
So he looks at it and goes, boy, you got to compete against Rick Barnes, John Calipari, Bruce Pearl,
Nate
Oates, Eric Musselman. The list goes on. You know, Nate Oates might leave Alabama. Eric Musselman might leave for a better gig. I'd rather
if Cal
coach.
goes to Texas, somebody goes to Kentucky. Who gets that job?
Yeah. Where he goes, I could probably jump from Charleston to Arkansas, from Charleston to Alabama. Those are better jobs than Ole Miss. And they are.
Oh, 100%.
And so that's the problem. Can you get anybody? If you hire Dusty May, and this isn't fair, but I mean, I would at least bring it up if you're asking. Like, one of the questions you'd have to ask Keith Carter, if you hired Dusty May, right? The last time y'all did this, you hired a Sun Belt coach. It didn't work out. What makes you think this one's going to work out?
Conference USA, but same thing.
Yeah.
Well, and again, he puts his roster together kind of uniquely, which is either really good or really bad. It's like international guys and a mixture, and it's does that translate to the top level? I don't know.
Right, and I'm not sitting here going, oh no, it wouldn't work. Mike comes at the
AK got them competitive that way.
Yeah,
but that's a unique. That's not the way we're talking about. Where hey, just build some NIL, go get dudes.
But the goal's not be competitive. The goal's make the tournament.
He said so.
The goal's to make the tournament.
Yeah,
they basically. Andy left and was going to get fired because he didn't make the tournament enough. Kermit's going to get let go or retire or whatever because he didn't make the tournament enough. So you're hiring someone to make the tournament. Not just be competitive. You're hiring them to make the tournament. Oh.
What
It's
happened?
me talking. Sorry, guys.
What happened?
I didn't hit the one. I was just sitting there, me talking on the two.
Oh, okay. I was confused. It's all good.
Those are your questions.
Glad we got all this out today. There's no time to talk about it tomorrow or moving forward or next week or anything else. So.
I mean, that's the other thing. It's like people are like, what the hell? I mean, I got
6 weeks here.
And that's, if you're Keith, that's where you're looking at it and go, I can't keep doing this. Because this is 2 years in a row that the basketball season's over in January.
They play Kentucky in January, and we just did the entire podcast with the only thing about the actual game is me just mentioning Sheboy's name one time.
Right.
That was it.
That's it.
I think Ole Miss is a 6.5 point underdog, by the way.
6.5, I think, is the line. Yeah. No, that represents failure.
No, it needed to lead the show today. If they're competitive, you're going, hey, Kentucky in town, big opportunity here, blah, 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 blah.
Net ratings and stuff.
Yeah, we're going through the thing.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about first four in and last four in, first four out and all that. So we're not in the mix. It's the reason that baseball's relevant here is that they're very competitive in it nationally. They win. So at the end of the season, we'll be talking about, hey, what do you have to do to host?
They play Kentucky tonight at 8 o'clock, and the biggest story that people are interested today is Tywone Malone's Saturday intra-squad. It's true.
I know.
Not a criticism, not even promoting content that I wrote something on it. That is the thing. Hey, so can he play? Hey, that's I don't know.
I know.
That's why I mean,
and nothing against college baseball, but when you're
intra-squad,
intra-squad games before you even get to the miserably cold portion of the schedule are the most interesting thing for a fan base. The basketball program has failed.
It's why you do wonder where this thing sits. And we've mentioned this, and it's last thing on this basketball topic. It's where I still am really curious about that February the 18th when those two things overlap one another and you have such an obvious look at everything and go, oh, my God.
Yeah. Well, you know what's coming.
It's state in town at the Pavilion
on
a home Saturday at like 2 o'clock.
You know what's coming.
And baseball plays Delaware at home at like 1:30.
You know what's coming.
You do. They're all over there.
I mean, unless it's like sleeting.
Yeah, sure. Anything beyond snow.
I mean,
higher temps.
If the game's being played.
I mean, I wrote this last week in my basketball thing. The average temperature on February the 18th, the high in Oxford is 62 degrees. If it's 62 degrees, it's full over there.
Even if it's 42 degrees.
Yeah.
The only way it's not going to be that way is if the game gets weathered out. Rain, snow, whatever. Weathered out where the conditions are unplayable.
Yeah, sure. Saw multiple sources, or not multiple reports yesterday saying that Brock Purdy tore his UCL, by the way.
Completely.
So, as someone who has had UCL surgery, he is not playing quarterback at the beginning of next season.
No, that's what they're saying. They said there's some sort of a way they can do it for quarterbacks because obviously the throwing motion is different than a baseball pitcher. But
even so,
if you're Brock Purdy, don't you want to get it fixed?
Yeah, be right. You're a rookie.
Yeah.
Fix your arm. 49ers are so unlucky. Just I don't even necessarily like their team, and I feel badly for them.
Well, and then now they have a decision to make with Trey Lance.
I know.
A decision to make with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, if I'm Jimmy, I'm like, hey, guys, I'm out. Been here, done that.
Yeah, he's just sitting here, and you got to, if you're him, you got to get moving. There's no doubt about that. Kellen Moore, other news yesterday, he is now the Chargers offensive coordinator, so he went from Cowboys to Chargers in a day.
It's an upgrade.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, it's an upgrade. You go from Prescott to Herbert.
Oh, I didn't think about it like that.
I'd rather have Herbert.
He didn't fix Prescott. Do you question Kellen Moore anymore, or you just put that on Dak's talent?
I put it on Dak. I watched that game. I know what I saw. Dak's good. That's as far as he's going to go. He's not great. Herbert has a chance to be great. He's not great right now. He's got to get better, but there's more tools there.
Stat of the day yesterday, the Wizards beat the Spurs in San Antonio for the first time since 1999 last night.
Saw that. Which is almost impossible.
24 years without winning an NBA road game.
Almost impossible.
It's beyond.
But,
yeah, it's beyond words. Bobby Hull died yesterday.
84.
NHL legend. Yes, that is correct. As did the Cleveland Guardians drummer, who most people know from their stadium over the last 50 years. As the Athletic said, bring real music to stadiums. It's fun.
Grind says, was the teammate wrong for calling out Joseph Osai after the game? Yeah. Yeah, you don't call your teammate out. You're a team.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You're a team. You know those cameras are in that tunnel. No, you don't do that.
Can't do it at all.
Can't happen. Was it Jermaine Pratt that did it?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is correct.
Especially in a game where Pratt didn't play particularly well and Osai was fantastic.
This is kind of the quarterback kicker thing a little bit. It's like, hey, what do you?
Yeah, no, you don't call him out. That's a weird game. It was a weird day in the NFL. It was the first game gets ruined at the very beginning with Purdy getting hurt, and then the backup gets hurt, and they can't do anything. I'm not sure it would have mattered. Philly looked really good.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
And then the second game was just any time that the conversation after a game is about officiating, you failed.
Yeah, we've had 2 years now where it's been coin tosses and officiating 2 years in a row.
It can't be that way. You got to figure it out.
It ends up being about baseball. So we'll talk not baseball, football. Talk NFL tomorrow. We got plenty of time again throughout the week. Got some stuff set up on the network as the week goes on as well. So we'll get some guests to you, and we'll turn the page best we can to whatever it is you guys want to hear about, talk about. Again, Ole Miss, Kentucky, 8:00 tonight from the Pavilion. We'll have coverage at RoarUp.com from that. Come join the conversation if you'd like during the game. So Wildcats and Rebels tonight, 8:00. Have a good day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.